This is a complete solo guide to Shattered Veil, the new DLC map in Black Ops 6, and before we get into the steps, there's a bit of setup that we need to do in order to have the best chance at success throughout the Easter egg and the boss fight. For loadout, I would choose either an AR with large mags or an LMG that has a quick reload. In this gameplay footage, I'm going to be using the AK as it's a weapon I was currently leveling camos on and enjoying. The reason we want to be using a weapon with a high magazine capacity is because double tap has returned on this map and it's insanely good. Another big setup piece that we need to be running is an explosive. I recommend the impact grenades as we can use these on round 1 to position ourselves better for one of the longer Raygun MK2 upgrade quests. Along with that, Ether Shroud with Burst Dash and Extra Charge is going to be really helpful for this quest. As for Gobblegums, you can really run anything that you would like for a majority of the map. There's no really necessary one until you get to making the Marksman Rifle variant of the Raygun MK2, where you will absolutely need a power keg as well as Arsenal Accelerator, as you're going to need to use Ether Shroud a few times during this step. We will be bringing a few specific Gobbles into the boss fight as it can be a bit challenging solo. However, with this guide, you'll surely be able to get this done. Step 1. Much like the rest of the maps in Black Ops 6, you first need to get to Pack-a-Punch. The game directs you to this fairly easily, and there's not much need for me to go into detail on this one. However, before you even leave the spawn, there's something that we need to do for setup purposes. Remember how I had you have impact grenades on in the start of this video? Well, in the spawn there's going to be a spore. It can be in a few different locations around the area, but once you find this, you're going to want to hit it with a grenade and pick up the seed that drops out of it. With this completed, you're going to want to follow up the path and to the left near the quick revive machine and do the same thing with the spore in this area. Before you end up leaving this area, it would also be wise to pick up a reflection stone from the fountain just here. Now the spores need to be damaged with an explosive or explosive weapon in order for the seed to drop, and this will save time later in the quest. Step 2, really you're going to want to focus on opening the map. Once the map is open and you have access to the Pack-a-Punch machine, you're going to need to get a floppy disk. This disk can only be dropped on round 10 and will appear in the containment area where Giant AI Sam is. This disk is essentially used for us to get a free Raygun MK2, but if you want to use the Wonder Bar Gobblegum and skip this step entirely, you're welcome to do so. You're going to want to walk around the room, and in the meantime, before round 10, you should be walking around the map and smashing these little white crates for a key item. It's a bomb that will be needed in a later step. The earliest that the community's been able to get this to drop is round 8, but it could be found sooner. And of course, pick up perks and armor along the way, as this map has some tight corners and you'll want to be able to survive accordingly. Now, with the floppy disk in hand, you'll want to make your way back to where there's a terminal that you can input the floppy into. This is going to spawn in a few vermin that you should be able to take out fairly easily, and after the vermin have been eliminated, make sure to look at the paper that prints out of the fax machine. This paper is going to have a key on it, usually a 4-letter word like moth or yeti. Now that you have your code, you need to make your way over to the nursery where there is going to be a chalkboard with letters in groups on it. Each of these groups corresponds to a number. You want to find the letters that your key was and jot down the number of letters within their group. For example, if your code is moth and the letter M is in a group of 4 letters, your first number would be 4. If the O is by itself, then your second number would be 0, and so forth. Once you have your full code, you need to head down to the containment area that has the Doppelgast imprisoned in it. The keypad on the right of the door is where you're going to input the newly acquired code. This is going to release the Doppelgast, so make sure that you have a decent weapon. And with the Doppelgast defeated, you can pick up the Severed Arm quest item and make your way over to the armory. When inside the armory, you can use the hand to acquire the Raygun MK2 for free off the wall. Now, this is where the quest starts to get challenging. Raygun MK2 upgrades are our 4th step in this Easter egg, and there are 3 different upgrades for the Raygun MK2, and we're going to complete them in order of difficulty. In order to build the explosive full auto or blue Raygun, With your newly acquired Raygun Mark II, you're going to want to wander around the map in search of 3 out of 4 of these blue crystals. There's debate in the community right now on whether or not there are 3 or 4 locations, but I have only ever had 3 in my game. If this changes, I will leave an update in the comment section below, and once you've destroyed your final crystal with the Raygun Mark II, you are going to get a quest item drop that looks like a canister, and with the canister in your hand, you want to make your way down to Speed Cola. And next to Speed Cola, there is a generator looking spot that you can place the canister inside of. In solos, this is only going to spawn 1 abomination, and without damaging the abomination too much, you need to make your way around these 4 stones. The goal of this is for the abomination to electrocute the stones with his ranged attack and then charge into them, knocking them into the air. With all 4 of the stones elevated, a protection sequence will begin. The map will begin spawning in normal vermin that are trying to shut down the energy transfer. Take out these vermin and protect the transfer to fuel the canister. Once completed, you are going to be able to make your way towards the back of the containment area adjacent the armory and upgrade your Raygun Mark II with the blue element. We're going to be calling it the blue Raygun as colors matter in later steps. The second Raygun variant, and arguably the worst one, is going to be the purple Raygun. To obtain the purple Raygun, we're going to need to obtain 2 reflecting stones. We also need to obtain the second canister. The best way to do this is to head to this mound location and pick up a free Casimir device laying on the ground. Next, head to the zombie spawn right below double tap and throw the Casimir device at the base of the window. Try not to let your zombie get sucked in unless you want to end your round. This will pull a canister out of the window for us to pick up, and the second location of the stone can be found just back here with this fountain. Both of these having been collected and having secured our second canister, we can make our way down to where we fought our doppelgast. Heading from the containment unit along this wall here, we can place the explosive item that we found from smashing the white boxes. If you don't have this yet, don't worry, you can still walk around and smash the white boxes until you find it. Use the explosive to blow open the secret corridor, and once inside, you want to make your way over to the canister charger and place the canister inside. With this done, there are 3 different locations that we need to place our reflecting stones. The first is going to be this one here that's being hit by the beam. The second location is going to be here along this wall. And with these 2 done, you need to melee the beams until a beam lands on a doppelgast. And with the doppelgast lit up, you can melee the back of the stone in the center of the room to spawn in the enemy. Eliminate that enemy, then repeat 1 more time for the second crystal. With both of these eliminated, we now need to move our second crystal into its 3rd position. When this is in place, you can then melee the crystals into position, melee the back of the stone, and eliminate your final doppelgast. With all 3 of them being defeated, we are then free to pick up our charged canister and take it to the director's quarters where it can be assembled into the purple shotgun Mark II. And finally, the most challenging of the bunch, we have the yellow Mark II. This thing is super goofy and I personally don't like it, especially at higher rounds. However, the quest is fairly simple. It's getting the 3rd canister that can be a real pain, especially for players that don't have the tomahawk unlocked as a craftable item. First, we're going to need to get tomahawks in our inventory, and you need a minimum of 2, but more is better. Off to the left side of the crafting table in Sam's area, you're going to have a letter above this pipe, either A or B, and with this you need to make your way back to the doppelgast containment unit and look off to the left hand side. There are going to be 2 pipes sticking out of the wall, one labeled A and the other B. Throw tomahawks at the non-broken valves on your corresponding pipe. You have to aim a little bit above them in order for these to fully work, but follow the valves of your corresponding pipe all the way along. When done successfully, you'll get a quote from Sam. Head back to the pipe to the left of the crafting table, and in this new containment unit is our next canister. We need to damage this containment unit with an explosive weapon. If you have a basic non-upgraded Raygun Mark II, this will also work. With our 3rd and final canister in hand, we are almost ready to start this upgrade. Remember those seeds we were picking up earlier? Well, there are 2 more of them that we need to go acquire. One can be found in the motor court, or the main courtyard area of the map. Again, this needs to be damaged with an explosive device. And the other can be found along the back balconies. With all 4 seeds in hand, you are now able to head over to the greenhouse area where there are 4 different planter boxes. Place the canister inside its charger and put 1 seed in 1 planter box. I can't stress this enough, if you try to do all 4 in solo, you will fail miserably. Then you have to go collect the seeds again. One by one, you want to protect the planter boxes until they are filled. With this completed, you can retrieve the canister from the charger and make your way towards the back of spawn where our final upgrade can be built. Now, I would watch this part of the video completely through before you decide what order you want to go in for these steps, as they are all difficult in their own ways, but I'll let you make the judge of what would be the best to begin with in your game. For me, I really like to get the purple shotgun Mark II ritual out of the way as early as possible, as it is the most difficult in my opinion. First, you want to head to the elevator room that takes you to Samantha. Once there, you can interact with the computer terminal aside the painting of the figure. Oh, and by the way, you have to have the purple shotgun Mark II equipped in order to complete this step. Kill zombies until the portal is charged enough for you to enter the room. Once inside, there's going to be a red bottle on the table. Pick this up, and with the bottle in hand, there are 3 chalices that we need to fill and kill the chaos priest that spawns from them. The first can be found on this table here in the bottlery. The second can be found on this table here in the overlook, and the third can be found on this bench here in spawn. With the 3 symbols gained, you are then going to head back to the elevator room. There now should be 3 backwards paintings around the outside of the elevator that have codes on them. Going from left to right, you want to jot down your code. As you see here in my game, I have head to this safe on the floor in the west hallways and enter that code. This is going to give you a horned chalice, which is your ritual item. With the chalice in hand, head back to the ritual room and interact with the stone pedestal. Make sure you still have ammo on your ray gun, as you can't complete the ritual without it. This is going to spawn an HVT that has a shield that can only be damaged by the purple MK2. Work on bringing his health bar down, and once he's eliminated, you are free to swap to a different MK2 and work on a different ritual. Next, I like to get the yellow marksman rifle MK2 out of the way. This is where we're going to need our ether shroud and need it a lot. There are several spawn locations for this step, and it's honestly really frustrating. The community has been working on finding all of them, but I have a route for you to try in your games to help make this a little easier. First, you want to shroud right outside the portal, and you should see a book floating above this suitcase on the couch. If it's there, pick up the item. Second, you want to make your way to the study and shroud by this table here, and if it's there, pick it up and move on to the next location. The third location I recommend checking is going to be the fireplace within the same elevator room that had our codes from the previous ritual. If it's here, pick it up and you're good to go. If you didn't get a spawn in any of these locations, here are a few more spots for you to check. If you're still having trouble, leave a comment below and we will try to help with more locations. With all 3 of the astral books picked up, you want to head into the portal version of the library and look at the symbols on the books. Again, in left to right order, we want to interact with the books that have the corresponding symbols on the real world side of the library. With this completed, a secret bookshelf is going to open, and inside is our ritual item. Now, this is the most difficult actual ritual fight. However, if you are on a low enough round and have the correct yellow MK2, you should be able to eliminate this amalgam with ease. Oh, and just a note, Treyarch totally lied. They said no amalgams on this map, and there are absolutely amalgams on this map. Now finally, there's the blue MK2 ritual, and this one is going to have an extra step with it, and you can complete this step much earlier in your game if you would like. First, we need to go find a lantern or sconce that can be found along these shelves, again inside the elevator room. With this sconce found, you need to head to this section of wall in the grand foyer and place it down. This is going to prompt a very short game of Simon Says that you need to complete by interacting with the sconces on the wall. And when completed, another secret corridor will reveal itself, and that is where our final ritual will take place. Make sure you have a blue MK2 equipped, as you can't enter the portal without it. Rinse and repeat just like the other 2 portals, get kills, fill the door, and presto, you're in. Once inside, we are prompted to retrieve a drink from the bar on the overlook. And in order to do this, we need to collect a bell and have brain rot equipped on our bullet weapon. The bell can be found in this room here, and much like the trash chute step in Advanced Warfare's Outbreak map, we need to just spray and pray all of the cabinets that have glass in the room, then spam your interact button and you'll collect it. Again, this one's kind of finicky, and if you're having trouble with it, reach out in the comments below. With the bell in hand, we can then take a horde of zombies over to the bar top table, place down our bell and get a turned zombie, then interact with the bell until the turned zombie hops over the counter. This is going to get the drink put on the table for us. And with the drink in hand, we can now return to our ritual room and begin our ritual. This is the easiest one of the bunch, and you won't have to go swap ray guns before boss fight, which is awesome. And speaking of which, it's now time to make sure that we're fully equipped for a boss fight, because there are no more steps in the egg. First, make sure that you have both your Raygun Mark II and your bullet weapon Gold Rarity and PAP 3. This boss is tanky, and you're going to need all the damage that you can get. Also, if you have the leftover salvage for Casimir devices or monkey bombs, definitely stock up. I would also recommend running a few rounds for a gold locker key or saving salvage to buy a chopper gunner, as it is very useful in sticky situations during this fight. The fight itself is visually stunning but not very complex. Basically, all you need to do is stay away from the Z-Rex. He is going to have a couple of phases where he leaves the arena for more zombies to spawn, but this can lead to getting drops like res kits, etc. Lastly, I'd mention that there are some gobblegums that can be quite useful in this fight. Idolize will make it easier to move around and not worry about zombies. Shields up can also be quite useful. Timeout, Free Fire, and Killjoy are also good things to have on you. Play patient, play safe, focus on his eyes at all times except for when his ribs glow green, then shoot the ribs to get an explosion. Avoid his infected vomity areas at all costs, as they're going to slow you down immensely, and try to have all perks when going in. I have no doubt that 1 to 2 tries you'll be able to complete this no problem. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, again, just let me know down in the comment section below. I hope this guide helps. My name is Cyclops. Like, subscribe, and share this with a friend if you enjoyed the video. And if you do none of those things, well, your viewership was much appreciated.